Hope everybody's having a great night, had a great week, and looking forward to a great weekend. Um, Want to do the recap for DR for today, 10th of March. Really quick one. A lot of this was in the Discord chat, so we'll talk through this a bit. I'll say a couple things up front. One, I did make money today, but it wasn't on DR. I actually took a SPX put toward the end of the day, which actually came out about 100, 150%, I think it was. So yes, I was positive today, but it wasn't on the strategy I was going for initially, and so we're going to talk about that. The second thing I'll say is, Angela C told me this morning she wasn't trading because it was non-farm payrolls, and I was like, I'm going to wait till 10:30, like how DR always sets up, and I'll figure out what I want to do. And as usual, I probably should have listened to her. Actually, I know I should have listened to her because it was a challenging day to say the least. But let's go through it and talk about kind of how we can get better. All right, so 10:30 normal setup, and again in the Discord I was talking about how choppy this was, just looking at price action, and so what I did was I did my I'm now calling them the DR ladders, right? So or DR ladder. So I put my my alerts, DR low, IDR low. I skipped the zero point 0.5 fib initially. Then I did DR, IDR high, and then DR high, right? So I had those alerts set, and we're just waiting for something to happen. And so came back right around 11 o'clock. So the alert goes off, and so I looked at it, and you can see it. So it did breach above DR high, but then it came back down and closed right on the line. Did that twice, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna follow my rules today, and because normally, or in some instances, I would have said, okay, well that's close enough. Let me go ahead and jump in and get this long, like on this red candle here. But if you notice this red candle, this actually ended up, it was about 39.20. And you see how it kind of fell down. This is 3,900. This is like 10 points that I would have to absorb to take this trade, right? So, and I don't like to do 10-point stop losses and things like that. I know I would have been stopped out if I would have taken this trade, but again, following the rules, right? I struggled with that a little bit this week. So following the rules, I'm like, it didn't break above the DR line, or didn't close above DR, so I'm not going to worry about it. Then again, price, there was actually a fair value gap here, and price came into it and took off. Um, as Tim would say, pie-yow. But Price took off. Again, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it, because what I'm seeing now is, okay, so now we actually did confirm DR high. So my expectation is that price is going to come back down, and we're gonna retrace back down into that into the range, and so that's what happened, and it was actually a nice move. And when price came down here, I actually put my order in on the IDR low, right, to go back up. Right, I'm like, okay, it broke down, broke through it, and it should be going back up now. Again, knowing that this negative fair value gap was here, I think I can still get my 5 points out of this if it went all the way to the top or went above that and came back down. But anyway, so it didn't. So putting the order in, and I wrote a note that said, my order's here. Price kept coming down, and I said, well, the next step for me is going to be this zero point 0.5 fib. So if I don't, if price comes down and goes below that zero point 0.5 fib, I'll just move my order down here. And so that's what ended up happening. It took about 20, 30 minutes for that to happen. So it came down, so it went all the way down below. I'm like, well, now they're trying to, it's almost like a retirement setup they're trying to form. And so this huge red candle here dropped price way below that zero point 0.5 fib. At this point, I'm frustrated. I'm like, well, should I move my stop down? But it never went down below the IDR low. So now I'm in no man's land, right? Because I don't have anything to trigger off of. Now I could have triggered off of this midnight open. Like we talk about midnight open every session, it seems like. But midnight open is always a very powerful area, and so you see price started kind of beating up and down off of midnight open here. But again, I don't use that as a trading area, at least not yet. Maybe I should start thinking about that. But what happens was price comes down, and then it actually shoots back up again. It never goes below IDR or DR low, so goes back up again, goes back above zero point 0.5 fib. At this point I had taken my order off of this one, of this, because I was getting a little frustrated. I'm like, this is something not right. So let me just recap, regroup after lunch. And so I took the order off, went and got something to eat. And when I came back, I saw this action. And I said, okay, well, at least I didn't get stuck here, because I would have taken this trade right here at 0.5 fib. And that would have been, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 points. And then it would have reversed on me. I know I would have gotten stopped out because I would have got stopped out at about 2 or 3 points down, because that's where I would have put my stop loss. So again, no action there. Come back down. Now it finally breaks the IDR low. Doesn't close below DR low, so it is still a valid DR setup to the upside. And so, but at this point, I am not interested really in taking this trade, right? Because this was to me the retirement setup where I should have set up. But it never went down below IDR. And this one, when it came down here, started going up and then come back down, up, come back down. And again, I'm not interested in that because it didn't break DR low. So it's still a valid trade, or it's still a valid strategy for today. Then at a little after 1, finally breaks down below DR. And at this point now, this whole thing is invalidated for me, right? And so I'm not chasing price down here. And so I just kind of I watched it, right? So I watched it go down, then watched it come back up. It touched DR again, then started going back down again. I didn't, again, I was not interested in any of this. I didn't even have I don't even think I had Tradeovate open. Oh, that's what other thing that happened today was, like, I was on my phone trying to set these orders in. And every time I would set an order in, like Tradeovate, I was using TradingView, and I had Tradeovate, as my broker, and it would keep kicking me out. So TradingView would keep kicking me out, or Tradeovate would, kick me out. And every time you go to log in, it's like 2-factor authentication. You got to try to look at your email. And so after about 3 or 4 times, I was really frustrated here. So I didn't mess with any of this. And then, again, price went back up, went above inside the IDR low, started coming back down, and I was not doing any DR at this point, right? Because again, this whole thing has been invalidated, and so coming back somewhere around like 3:15 ish or so is when I actually just jumped into an SPX call, SPX put on the option side. Took a little heat on it, and then it kind of fell off down here. Closed out above that, but for about 150%. Thought about getting back in when I saw this happening, this candle, and then I saw this equal lows right here, and I was like, nope, not going to do it. I did buy a very cheap SPY same day expiration contract for like $20, and I said, I'm just going to let this go to zero, and that's what it did, right? So, interesting day. Followed the rules. The rules kept me out of trouble, so that was good. And then I changed strategies to actually make a little bit of money. So no complaints there. So hopefully you guys had a great day trading. Again, it's just a little rough from the DR side. We'll get back at it on Sunday night and see what the ADR looks like for that for Sunday, and then we'll see what happens next week. All right, you guys have a great weekend again, and questions, put them in the chat or wherever, and we'll get to them. All right, take care.